Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out. Just start off with our land acknowledgement. Just like to acknowledge that we're on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Mount First Nations. I'd like to call the meeting to order and get about the people's business. Let's look at introduction of late items. Is there any introduction of late items, Mr. Roy? Start off with our land. Perfect. Traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Mount First Nation. I'd like to call the meeting to order and get about the people's business. There I am. It works. It actually works. I'll give him a second to playing with this new technology.
So worship, just a in-camera item for a couple items regarding land and personnel.
Okay, so we'll add that to the end of the agenda. Thank you very much, sir. And councillors, any late items you want to introduce? Councillor Pickard.
Thank you. Through the chair. I have two late items I'd like to introduce. One is a request for a letter of support from Mayor on behalf of Mayor and Council for Great Seafood. In addition to the one we already did, this is for the new draft transition plan and some federal representatives coming the week after next. So a new support letter with more detail and just highlighting the company's importance and significance economically for the town.
Do we have a letter of request from them?
The request, yeah, came today from them, so they can.
Introduce that into the agenda this evening?
Oh, there's no draft letter. The request came for the draft letter. So if we do a vote and see where we go, then they can provide us with a draft and have it ready for the federal government visitors the week after next.
Okay, so do you want to put the request under new business then? Is that what we're
Yeah.
looking for? Okay, and we'll let you speak to it when we get to the
Okay.
business and remind me if I forget.
Okay.
I got it written
Yeah.
down here. I shouldn't forget.
Deal's a deal. Okay, and second new item?
Do you have another item you wish to?
I
add?
do, yeah.
Okay,
Are you ready?
perfect.
The second new item is, I don't know if this is allowed in our regulations, but is if we are able to move anything on the agenda, as obviously we have some people doing a delegation from the Gold River Golf and Country Club. I'm sure related to the bylaw, but that we'll be deciding and voting on before them. And it just happens to be this meeting unfinished business, so it comes before the delegation. So do we have any flexibility to allow them to speak as their
I can
delegation
respond to
before?
that. I had that conversation with the administrator this afternoon, and I'm going to be proposing in the approval of agenda that we remove it from unfinished business to bylaw, so that we'll have an opportunity to hear these folks' presentation before we deliberate on that issue. And that'll be up to you. It requires not unanimous, but majority consent. So that will be the next thing on the item. Does that work for you? Okay. Are we good to move on then? Are we good? Councillor Wimar, Councillor Boston, nothing else? Okay. The approval of the agenda, what I'm looking at is that the agenda be adopted as amended, and that the amendment being that the annual property tax exemption bylaw number 755, 2024 be moved from the unfinished business to bylaws in the agenda order, and that we also add the in-camera item on. So I can get that moved. Moved to Councillor Foster, second Councillor Wimar, and discussion. No discussion? Sure. Terrific. Call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried unanimously. Adoption of the minutes. So that the regular meeting minutes from the September 23rd, 2024 be adopted as presented. Mover, Councillor Pickard, second, Councillor Wimar, discussion. No discussions. Call for the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Moving on. Public and statutory hearings, seeing none. Unfinished business. We've moved this one to bylaw. Delegations. to welcome the delegation from the Gold River Country Club. Would you folks care to have your spokesperson take the seat up there and introduce yourself? I'd love to hear your presentation. There's no camera on you, Trudy. So
No, we're good to go.
Camera's on me.
I'm Trudy Annand. My address is 542 Cedar Crescent, Gold River, and I'm the current president of the Gold River Golf and Country Club.
Welcome.
Thank you. And so the discussion about, we found out a week ago about the possibility or the discussion about the tax exemption for the golf course.
Yes.
And so I think over the years, we've changed councils, we've changed executives, we've changed village administrators, and a lot of information gets lost in those transitions. So I thought I'd just discuss how the golf course works and how it's managed.
Great, thank you.
So we'll start with, it is a society. It was built by volunteers. And it is managed and always has been managed by elected members of the golf course. And these people volunteer their time for everything, all the decision-making. That is pertinent to the successful operation. So we have employed three employees on the course. These people are part-time. We have 5 in the clubhouse serving. We have 3 in the kitchen, 2.5 in the kitchen. We have 94 members this year, and we offer golf for the entire community. We have situations or groups that are run by volunteers again. We have a ladies group, we have a geezer group, that's the old guys, and we have the men's club. And these 3 groups do all their own organization, and many of the people that enjoy those groups are not members of the golf course. So they're just members of the community that come in and enjoy golf one night a week. And that's what they do. We also have for green fees, Mondays, seniors is 2 for 1. And Fridays, it's 2 for 1, everybody, so that everybody can afford to come and play golf if they're just social golfers. At 3 o'clock from Monday to Friday, we have geezer rates, or not geezer rates, twilight rates. So for $20, you can golf until dark. Doesn't matter how many holes you do.
Great.
So the expense for the community is actually very affordable because everybody can come and just golf when they want. We have a lot of people that come from out of town to do just because they like the golf course. And yeah, then they bring friends. And so we are really busy especially on weekends. But now during the week, a lot of the retirees are coming as well. We host 2 big tournaments, which is 80 golfers per tournament. These 2 tournaments, there's the mixed tournament and there's the men's tournament. And these 2 tournaments are organized by members on a volunteer basis, and the clubhouse accommodates them with the food and cart rentals and such. So, and these people always come the day before. So there's lots of revenue and enjoyment because 2 for 1 on Friday for sure. And then they stay and they enjoy the town. Some people stay an extra day. They either golf or they go touring or they do whatever they enjoy doing. We have fishermen that will check the tides if they have a late tide that they can launch their boat.
Yeah.
They come early, they golf, then they go and fish. And people from the Uchuk, they'll come the day before, they'll golf, they'll go on the Uchuk, stay another night maybe, and then golf the next day because we are becoming so popular. And all of this is because we have a tireless crew of volunteers. We have 2 fellows that are retired that work between the two,
Overtime.
and they put at least 40 to 50 hours a week between the two man hours a week, just keeping our equipment going. Because our equipment is aging out. And we're come to a point now where they can't get parts. And they're having to, like Yamaha doesn't supply the parts anymore, so now they have to go searching. One of them is, thank goodness, a machinist, so he's very capable of making stuff to make the stuff work. The clubhouse is falling apart.
Yeah.
It has never been, nothing has been replaced in it other than freezers. We put in a new deep fryer this year. Our stove is just about done and it's priced at $16,000. We have a floor that is literally sagging, has to be all replaced. I've had quotes. I've had a quote for the flooring and, or I'm getting one.
Yeah.
A guy measured it. The whole kitchen has to be gutted. Cupboards are falling apart and it's never been done in 30 years, more than that. So we're at a stage where any money that we get is earmarked for these expensive repairs. And these are things that our volunteers can't do. We need expertise on those areas.
Okay.
Fixing the roof, we just had 2 guys work 3 days in the rain trying to fix the roof and the gutters because they were all sagging from the snow.
Yeah.
We have one fellow that rebuilt the whole putting green, the practice putting green. He
Yeah.
did that. We have people that come in the wintertime. We have to do the fire smart and get all the dead stuff out of the tree, out of the bush, and then we have a big burn pile. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of what the people do to keep that course going. And it's a real asset to the community because it brings people, well, have you ever been to Gold River? No. Do you golf? Yeah. Well, you should come up and golf. And then they come to Gold River and then they come back because, because that's just what they like to do. We've kind of put Gold River on the map because a lot of people, especially through COVID, because we were open on our honor system,
Mhm.
that they could just come and put their $10 in the box and they couldn't go anywhere else. Everything else was shut down and, oh, we'll be back. And they all come back. So it's hard for us to think that what we are doing is not appreciated and is not recognized as a successful, basically volunteer business, because that's exactly what it is. And so I would hope that we can come to some conclusion on this. I did look at the assessment thing on the BC assessment, and the building, if this is what is in question, is not correct. We don't have 3 stories. We don't even have 2 stories.
Mhm.
So a proper assessment, if you vote to allow this exemption to be nullified, then that has to be done first. So I could probably say a lot more, but
If you're open to some questions, I'm sure the council members have
Yeah.
some questions that would stimulate some conversation. Are you open to some questions?
I absolutely.
Perfect. Councilors, anyone wish to ask any questions of the Gulf Country Club's representative? Councilor Fawcett.
Thank you. I actually have just want to say thank you, Trudy, for that information. It kind of opens up my eyes a little bit more
Mhm.
to know what, well, I always knew the golf course was run by volunteers and I appreciate you coming in tonight. I do have a question for the administrator via the chair though.
Sure. Mr. Curry.
It's my understanding that the Gold River Golf Course is owned by the Village of Gold River, correct?
The Gold River Golf Course is on Crown land, that's the, in the lease to the Village Go River, which then leases to the
No.
golf course.
No,
Okay, second question then. If, because on the bylaw, it says that it's owned by the Gold River, Village Gold River.
it is.
So then the second question I have, maybe just for clarity then is, does that not mean the clubhouse is owned by the Gold River as well, and the village?
Mhm.
That's what's raised in my mind.
Not necessarily, your worship, it could be, and like any business, you could provide the space and people would build whatever they wish on it. But that doesn't necessarily, ownership of it doesn't necessarily affect assessment. There are other communities where municipal owned property has a portion of it that actually is tax business, because there's actually businesses operating in them. So that does occur in the community, so it just depends on, again, it goes back to the use of the property. Golf course use is split between business and recreation, the largest portion being recreation.
Okay, thank you very much. That answers my, okay, thank you. That answers my questions. Thank
And
you.
from a historical perspective, because I'm not too sure, was volunteers, was that donations in kind and volunteer time that built the clubhouse? Was it the membership that built the clubhouse back there?
No,
Sure.
they hired somebody to build the clubhouse.
Okay, the
'Cause-
Village of Gold River hired somebody to build that?
No,
or-
the golf course did.
And you guys paid for that?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Any other questions that you want to direct towards her?
We paid for the clubhouse, yeah.
Councilor Waymire?
Yeah, through the chair. How much did membership fees go up this last year?
They didn't.
They didn't?
No, they're going to be put up this year
Okay.
for next year.
And in that case, I guess you're having your AGM.
I think
In
you need to
October.
put your mic on there. partner.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
Okay, is there a projected amount, or I guess that's kind of really
We're going
dependent on?
with we haven't had an increase for 2 years, so we're going with a 2-year inflation rate to increase it for the 2025 year.
Perfect, thank you.
That's another thing, going with rates. We have trying to encourage the younger population, because we know that they're working and they have youngsters, what have you. So we have a special rate for the 19 to 39-year-olds, which is $300 less than the rest of us pay that are over 40.
Mhm.
So that's just encouragement, and it has been a real boon to the membership that they can do this. And we also offer 10 times passes at the price, so you pay for 9 and get 10 rounds. Another incentive, and people buy these for Christmas gifts and that sort of thing. And we also entertain an awful lot of people that live here and their kids come to visit. And a lot of the kids are golfers, so they all bring their golf clubs and they come and go golfing.
Thank you, Trudy. Gonna let me go, thanks. Just for clarification, a lot of volunteer time and donations in kind go into the operation of that organization. Is that like a significant amount of volunteer time and donations in kind that are going into that operation, Trudy?
Yeah, just as an example, I mean, Mark Toohey built the new practice putting green. It was a 2-year project, but to
Yeah.
have one built, it would be $30,000 or $40,000.
Thank you. Another question I have for you is that profits that are realized at the end of the year by the golf club, well-earned profits, are they reinvested into the golf course in terms of equipment, seed, soil?
Yeah.
Upgrades, or they go into, does any of the money go to the executive as a bonus or some sort of thing because of they've done a good job during the year and there's some surpluses?
No, we don't. We
So all the
like I
surpluses go
said,
back into the
go back
operation?
in. Like this year, we bought a backhoe off of Dillon because of the irrigation system. The guys were getting tired of digging the holes, so. And then we paid off the loan that we had with the village, so
Mhm.
that's all cleared up. We don't owe anybody any money, but we also have to look forward to the fact that we now have 8 carts that we can't get parts for.
Right.
So we're now going to actively look for used carts again. We don't buy new carts, we buy used carts. from other golf courses.
Right.
Just because it's cheaper and they last for 5 or 10 years. But these ones that we've got that are just aging out, our mowers are definitely aging out. And I can't even imagine what they would cost. And like the kitchen repairs are gonna be, I would think close to $50,000. So everything we get gets put back in. We just purchased a special fungicide for the greens because there was some fungus growing it. And for 5 liters, it's $1,000.
Great. So all the profits that you realize during the hard work for the course of the year get reinvested into the operation. Nothing goes to executive bonus or anything like that.
Nope.
Okay, good. Good to
Nope.
understand that. Your restaurant, does it operate for the full year or is it
No,
seasonal?
the whole course is seasonal, 6 months from 1st of April till the 30th of September.
Yep.
And then everything is closed down.
And when it's open, does it operate every single day from the early morning to late at night and cover breakfast, lunch and dinner?
No, not just lunch and dinner for the
Yep.
kitchen.
Is it open every day of the week?
Yeah, when we have a cook.
There are challenges, right? So it's
Oh,
seasonal, it's a seasonal operation.
seasonal
Half
operation,
of the
yeah.
day and sometimes during the week it's not open, correct?
And
You
all
don't
of
have
our
staff.
other employees, we've got 2 full-time cooks and then we've got one, what I class as the half one, because they fill in when one of the other ones gets sick. And then this year, one of our girls was pregnant and was, yeah, it was a bit of a gong show, so we had to close for days.
And are you finding it challenging to provide the service to the community? Because I think the nature of the service has changed. I think initially probably when it was conceived, it was to take care of golfers that finish their golf rounds. Now it seems like it's turned into a community restaurant and a destination restaurant for people. I see people from all over riding their motorcycles in or whatever. And
Yeah.
they're sitting there. And yeah, and I noticed that when our capacity in our community was compromised over the summer because some of our restaurants were cut back for various reasons, is that you guys were able to help step up and pick up the load.
Yes.
Probably contributed
was-
burning out your folks down there.
We
but,
burnt our folks out.
That was appreciated, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Last question I have is that if when we're deliberating the permissive tax exemptions tonight, if we choose to not exempt you like we have and then add a 5,400 tax bill onto you every single year, what kind of detrimental impacts is going to have in the operations of our golf course? What won't get done?
What won't get done?
Or what will we have to shut down or what will we have to compromise?
Well, we'd probably have to shut down some of the clubhouse hours.
Okay.
It would deter us from buying and upgrading the equipment that we have.
Great.
And that's pretty much all I can think of because that's all we got.
In your
We-
opinion, and my last question, in my opinion, is that if you didn't accept the lease and run it on the basis that you're running it on as a volunteer organization with lots of volunteers, lots of in-kind on donations, do you think the Village of Gold River would be able to manage that as one of their services?
No.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other questions? Councilor Pickard.
Thank you through the chair. Thanks for everyone's questions. I just want to say thanks, Trudy, for all the information you provided and your delegation for coming out tonight and for all the work you do all year round and sharing it with us. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfect. If the councilors, do you have any more questions of the presenter? Anybody else? Just one. Unfortunately, Tim, only one person gets to represent, and so she can speak on your behalf if you want to. We're going to wrap you up. Thank you very much for your presentation
Thank
this
you very
evening.
much for your
I think
time.
it helps us in our decision making, and I think if we have good information, we can make good decisions. So thank you for coming out and sharing that with us.
Thank you for your time.
Mike's making me go through all his reports now. Yeah, we're in development variance permit, 557 Nimkish Drive. And let me just find the recommendation here. Permissive tax exemption, permissive tax exemption. Just scrolling through all the reports here. I'll be with you 1 second. And the recommendation is that council approve the development variance permit for 557 Nimkish Drive to adhering to all their aspects of the zoning bylaw for the placement and height of fences. Can I get that moved, please? Councillor Fawcett, second by Councillor Waymar, and discussion. Anyone want to speak to this? Councillor Fawcett.
Thank you through the chair. Having looked over the zoning zoning bylaw amendment that we're looking at tonight, couple of things that I wanted to note is that everything I see here is good, and I'm in agreement with it. I do have a question through the chair to the administrator.
Certainly, go ahead.
Thank you. With this, the original zoning, the original plan that was given to this resident to put in a fence, how long ago was this approved?
Administrator.
Your worship, was no approval needed for this fence, so it was no building permit or anything required.
Okay, thank you. Next question to the administrator. If there was no building permit required, was there any information given to the resident as to the size of fence, placement of posts, anything of that nature?
Mr. Roy.
In my discussions with the property owner, she had indicated she did speak with a former employee about the property. Some of the information she got was erroneous on the side lot.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that with me. I guess another question through the chair to the administrator. Would it the erroneous information that was given, is it what has led to what's before us tonight, that the development variance permit has come about?
Can you rephrase that? I'm not.
Sorry.
Understand the question.
With the information that the resident was given by the previous village employee that may have given her this information, the erroneous information that she was given, is that, are we trying to correct that wrong, let me just say the word wrong information that was given to her by doing this development variance, or by having our resident go through a development variance permit application?
Mr.
No, your worship. The information, I don't have all the details of the conversation or what may have been had from both sides of the discussion, whether it was known it was a corner lot or not at the time. I can't attest to any of that. But this is to be in compliance with the zoning bylaw, where the exterior side lot of a corner lot is limited to the 1.2 meters. So this variance request is to permit that to be increased to 1.8.
Okay, so just another question through the chair to the administrator then. How was the resident to know the proper height for the fence if she was not given that information by the previous employee?
She did have the information in writing. She did have the printouts of some of the information, because she did share it with me, and on there it did state that exterior side lots was 1.8 meters.
Okay, thank you very much. No more questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Fawcett. Anyone else? Councillor Waymar.
Yeah, I have no particular issue with this variance here. It's it's a corner lot. It's got some special, rules associated with it. And I don't think it's, changes the neighborhood or anything in a very significant way. So yeah, I'll definitely be supporting this variance.
Thank you, Councillor Waymar. Councillor Pickard, did you want to roll in before any comment?
Yeah, thank you through the chair. Thanks, Councillor Waymire and Councillor Fossum, for your thoughts. And I'm glad that the administration or staff noticed that the fence was too close, the 5 meter setback, and are going to switch it back to the 7 meter offset for the line of vision, just coming around the corner. We have narrow streets, especially when they're parked on double park. So just to have that extra visibility come around the corner around Nimkish with all the gangs of kids and bikers and walkers is good for the safety. And I actually think that we have the bylaws for a reason, and the 1.2 meters allows for an even sized fence all across one of our main streets. So I think if every resident applied for this bylaw variance permit and we all went to the higher fences, it would change the feel of it and kind of seem a bit more closed. I'm stuck with looking at my front neighbors, so everyone should be just joking, joking Bailey's. But no, I think keeping with the bylaw would add some consistency, so thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Pickard, Councillor Fawcett.
Thank you. Just another question through the chair to the administrator, please. My math may not be that great, but how much of a difference is 1.2 meters to 1.8 meters? Can we have that in inches?
4 and 6 feet.
Is that 6 inches?
It's 2 feet difference. In feet, it's 4-foot fence versus a 6-foot fence.
So it's 2 feet. Okay, yeah, sorry. Thank you for the clarification. I just a little
Sure.
slow on my math this evening.
So when I looked at this application, my concern was public safety. That's an intersection between Nimkish and Eagle. I wanted to be assured that the sight lines weren't going to be obscured so that we could run into vehicular collisions or vehicle pedestrian collisions. And I'm comfortable with the setback of 7 meters and allowing that 1.8 along the side on Eagle and then Nimkish that 1.2. So I'll be supporting this request for a variance. Any other comments before we take a vote on the motion? Call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Do you want to be listed as opposed? Councillor Pickard? Okay, Councillor Pickard is opposed. Thank you. And the motion carries. Next item under administrative reports is grant opportunity, volunteer and composite fire department. I actually had an opportunity to hear about this grant request when I was with the SRD. We supported it then, I'll be supporting it now. So I'm just going to go through the whole recommendation, put 1 and 2 together if there's no problems with that. Is that the recommendation is that the report from the Chief Administrator Officer be received and that as part of the Village of Gold River's ongoing work in supporting firefighter safety, that an application for financial assistance under the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund, October 2024 Volunteer and Composite Fire Department grant be authorized for submission to the BCM and that the Village of Gold River commit to an overall grant management if the application is successful. Someone care to move that? Councillor Weimer, second Councillor Fawcett, any discussion? I'll start off. Anytime that we can get money to assist our firefighters in getting better equipment and especially safety equipment, I'm fully supportive. And I really like the work that our administration does and our fire department in going out and securing all these grants that we get to provide our people who put their wellness and their lives on the line to keep us safe with the best equipment we can possibly provide them and the best safety apparel that we can possibly provide them with. So yeah, I'm fully supportive of this and I think it's great. And I want to compliment our administration as well as our fire department for going out and hustling these grants so that we can improve things without having to charge these folks any more money and hopefully give them better service if they get into a situation, unfortunately, if something important like their house or their business or something catches on fire. So, yeah, again. Anybody, any other comments? Did you want to speak to that, Councillor Weimer? Anyone else want to speak to it? No? Good. Oh, Councillor Pickard?
Thank you through the chair. fully funded, safer for our fire department, no brainer.
I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
These ones are easy. So call for the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Terrific. And one more to do under this. Hmm. Cool. And the next one is disposal of surplus municipal assets. The recommendation is that council authorize the disposal of the office equipment in accordance with the disposal of surplus asset policy. Moved by Councillor Foston, second by Councillor Waymar. Maybe Mr. Roy, if you would just speak to this for us, so council is aware of what you're actually looking for to dispose here and how you want to do that.
With the recent move of the detachment, we got some office furniture. As a result, we've got some desks and stuff that we need to dispose of. But per policy, it has to come for council for approval.
Do you have an inventory of what you're wanting to dispose of, sir?
There's at least 2 desks and a file cabinet at this point in time.
2 desks in the file cabinet. Okay. Discussion. Pretty straightforward. Everybody's happy with it. Call for the question. Oh, Councillor Pickard. Oh, you want to vote on it? You want to get home? You want to get out of here quick, huh? I like the fast draw. Okay, call for the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. We're done. Moving on. Reports from council. Councillor Foston,
No reports at this time.
Councillor Pickard.
I gotta pull it up. Loading. Okay, I just want to start with a thank you to Sergeant Greg Young and all the members and staff at our local RCMP office. They hosted a fantastic grand opening ceremony of their new detachment that I was fortunate enough to attend, plus a gaggle of kids. Thanks to them for including the community and all the community members in their celebration and surrounding communities. And we look forward to working with them and to their continued presence and all their dedication and work in Nootka Sound. And just an update on Grieg Seafood. We'll talk about it more in the new business, but I mentioned last meeting that the draft transition plan just came out, so I'd have correspondence with them and see where they were at with it and how it would impact their business and what it looked like for them in the future. We've spoken a lot about how the plan aligns with their business operations or doesn't. It said they have 5 years to transition to land-based containment systems. Their response was the plan is actually unachievable in the timeline given, and they have begun discussions for engagement. And Jennifer Woodland, one of our correspondents, has been in Ottawa for the last week seeking clarity and details of the process.
Who's Jennifer Woodland?
Jennifer Woodland's the managing director.
I
Okay.
know they may not.
Yeah, managing director of Grieg Seafood. So in touch with the village. And Jennifer said, this is now in consultation phase. As such, Grieg, along with our industry colleagues, suppliers, and Indigenous partners, are proving the facts that this is not doable in 5 years and presenting what we can and what we would like transition to look like for the sake of our companies and our communities. We'll be gathering letters of support from our communities and reaching out in regards to that. And they are committed to working through this consultation process and to get a realistic plan in place.
Good.
And then I had a follow-up discussion with Sam Tompkinson today. She's kind of our community contact in Gold River. And she mentioned that as of the Ottawa discussions, we'll have some federal representatives coming out the week after next week. So if we could look at getting a current letter of support from mayor and council with specific details of the impact of Grieg Seafood in the area, just to make that visit more impactful for the federal government officials coming out.
Good.
And then in the Nootka Sound Watershed Society, they started back their monthly meetings the end of last September. They're going to be every Wednesday at the end of every month. Everyone's welcome. And some good news, lots of good news and good, exciting habitat restoration projects they're doing in the area. And one in particular, they were successful in a proposal submitted to the Indigenous Habitat Participation Program. And that's to host engagement with MMFN and New Chatlet to identify region-wide restoration priorities and goals to submit to the DFO. And from these submissions, this collation of all these different region-wide priorities, goals, and species at risk, the habitat restoration priorities for BC and the Yukon will make a document that will identify fish habitat restoration goals and objectives and provide a framework for restoration projects in the Pacific region, and our region in specific will be part of it. So just a really exciting collaboration and way for it to get all the different local groups involved in something that's region wide. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pickard. Councillor Waymire?
Yeah, nothing in particular. I know that last meeting I said I would write something up for UBCM, and I was sent to a Vancouver hotel room, and then I got sick, and
Delegate
just
my-
was not the thing I wanted to do as far as doing a book report while I'm sick and tired. So I'll get that all written up for next meeting.
Terrific. Thank you, Councillor Waymire. And I just want to echo what my colleague here, Councillor Pickard, has alluded to earlier in her presentation, is that I pinch myself most of the time when I drive past that new detachment. I just think it's a mirage that the Village of Gold River is so fortunate to have that type of investment by the federal provincial government in our community, not only in bricks and mortar, which is a really amazing building. I've been through it. It's state of the art with all the most recent technology, and it's an incredible complex that will serve this region well for decades to come. But not only that, but it represents too. It represents something really important in our community, and that's basically safety and security. If you want to distill it down, and it's much more than that. But I don't want to suck up all the air tonight. But I am very appreciative of that. I also like the idea that it helps our tax base, so that when we do what we have to do in October, November, December, and look at our finances, it helps us out too, because it provides us streams of income into the community, which we need. So I was very grateful for being invited to speak that day. I thought it was quite a privilege. It's a historic event. So that was the highlight for me since the last meeting. And the other things I've done probably aren't of that much interest right now to the rest of people. So I'll just going to move on. So the next item I have is the work in progress report. And can I just I'd like to move that the work in progress report be received? Somebody move, Councillor Fossin, second Councillor Waymire. Any discussions? It's pretty well to go ahead. Councillor Fossin.
Thank you to the mayor, through the mayor to the administrator. Do we have a report on the Nooka Trail, sir?
No, not at this time. I'm hoping we might have something for the next meeting, but it is on the work plan.
Thank you very much.
No other questions? No questions. Call for the question. All in favor? Done. Okay, terrific. Report of committees. We have no reports of committees. So move on and get into the bylaw. Okay, and let's go back to our permissive tax exemption and get into that one. Let me go back to the beginning here. Okay, no property damages in bylaw. I'll just start off with the receipt. I get moved that council receive the administrator's report for information at this point. To your receipt, do you guys want to do, just want to move that the council receive the report? Councillor Pickard moved, Councillor Waymire second, and then we can have some discussion. Anybody like to start off? Councillor Waymire? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess we'll jump into the deep end here. So for this, it comes down to me of, who pays And as far as the golf course goes, I mean, we're looking at 50%, or sorry, 100% totally covered with an exemption, and then 50% and 50% for the rest, which comes out to that $5,400 number. So who pays for that? And in my mind, it's either, I mean, somebody's got to pay for it regardless. And is it going to be the taxpayers of Gold River, or is it going to be the users of the golf course? Right now, they don't pay any sort of rent. They might expect that paying the taxes would be some degree of payment in lieu of the rent. And I think the $5,400 number is quite fair. I mean, they're looking at $28,000 tax bill, and we're looking at just below 20% of that as taxation. And I believe that should be put onto user fees instead of onto the entire village of Gold River. And I mean, that's going to be reflected in, you know, call it green fees, membership rates. Membership rates didn't go up at all last year. If they were to go up, say $55, that would cover most of it. And I know that not everybody's going to love that. And they, yeah, not everybody's going to love that. They might lose a member or some degree of their membership because of it. But I mean, that's just kind of the life of inflation. As a council, we were increasing taxes by 8.9% a year. And if the golf course isn't following suit, then, I mean, really we're subsidizing something. And I mean, I love the golf course being here. I mean, I wish everything we could have would be free, but I mean, I think a $5,400 ask is not incredibly high. I mean, that's, I mean, half a percentage of what we'd be increasing taxes. That's, call it 15-ish dollars a household. And if it's going to be 50-ish dollars per member, I mean, in the end, we're not looking at a huge increase. And I think it also comes down to fairness. We've got other operations in town who run a kitchen, and of course they are, you know, full-time, for profit. But that's where this, you know, why we're looking at, you know, just under 20% of the total bill instead of, you know, 100%. Of the communities, the most, you know, closest community to us is Campbell River. And they have a similar situation with Story Creek, which is run as a not-for-profit. Previously, they had been 100% exempt. In 2023, for the 2024 season, they reduced that to 50% exemption. And just, was it last week, they're looking at 0%, and they did first, second, third reading. And I mean, I'm not looking for us to be at 0% at all. I think 50% of, you know, the business section of it is very fair. And the 100% exemption for recreation is, you know, absolutely, I'm totally on board with that. I don't want to run them, you know, burn them down to the ground. I think it comes down to, you know, who pays, and I think it's user fees that need to be increased, not our taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Weimer. Councillor Fosling, Councillor Pickard, anyone care to comment? Councillor Fosling.
Thank you to the chair. Thank you, Councillor Weimar. You caused me to think a little bit more about this. Again, my initial question through to the administrator, through the chair, was who owns the golf course? The Village of Gold River owns the golf course. Why would we tax ourselves? So that's why we give a tax exemption, because we don't want to tax ourselves. Now, I understand the concept of taxing the business side of it. But like our delegation was able to share this evening, that if they were not making the funds that they do make from the fees and I'm taking it, most of the revenue for the kitchen actually goes back into the purchasing of food and paying the employees. So there's not much profit, just from my own business experience in the food industry, there's not much profit there to contribute to the amount of money that they could use to replace equipment or to pay the other employees. So in my viewpoint, I don't see myself, I would not approve of the changing the tax, changing it to being taxing the golf course, the 50%. Hopefully that makes sense. Thank you.
Hey, Councilor Fawcett? Are you doing your hair or you've got your hand up? Just want to make sure, Councilor Vickers.
Thank you. Thank you through the chair, and thanks Councillor Waymeyer and Councillor Fawcett for your comments. I feel that this is a really tricky and tough issue, because we all know the value of the golf course, and we appreciate the delegation and them just reminding us and reviewing all the programs, all the physical and the mental health, the social inclusion of the golf course. I worked there and had the pleasure to work there for many years and know the heart and soul and hours and just the passion that my husband and the members have for the course. And it's a really incredible opportunity for our residents, for kids to have access to golf, and for, seniors to have access to golf, and everybody in between. It's really a massive draw for the community. It's actually part of the reason why I live here, and, we looked it up and it had a golf course. So that was a big selling feature. And I also know that it just provides a lot of benefits for the community in all different aspects. And I don't think, as a council here, as from the Village of Gold River perspective, I don't think it's whether, with the executives getting bonuses, or we know that it's all volunteer run and that there's a few staff and it's challenging. But I think, as Councillor Waymeyer said, we're kind of sitting here looking at all businesses and want to have the playing field fair. And if the golf course has changed over the years from kind of catering to golf course and supporting golfers and the golf course, to being a community restaurant and hosting different community events and having the restaurant available to eat and competing with other businesses in that respect, who also have, they're more full-time, but they do have the staffing challenges and the inflation and the rent and all that. So I think our job is to keep the things as fair as we can, and leaving the land portion as a full 100% exemption, but having some business tax on the business side would keep the playing field more fair with expenses for all businesses that are offering food. I think if we look at our permissive tax exemption policy, we have eligibility criteria, and under the criteria under section D, the applicant's organization's use of land must benefit the community in one or more of the following ways: provides recreational facilities for public use, provides recreation programs to the public, provides programs and facilities used by youth, seniors, other special needs groups. I think the golf course and the golf programs all fit that. And that's massive, and we're so grateful for it and very appreciative. But the restaurant portion, although it funds that, it's tricky, it doesn't really fit any of these criteria. And I think going forward, we can maybe, we're familiar with the Story Creek story and how they've gone from 100% funded to 50, and now maybe looking at no exemptions. But Campbell River has a really good section in their policy that says care must be taken to ensure that when a nonprofit service is offered that competes with a licensed business, that the nonprofit service targets a sector of the community not served by business. And I think in this, if we look at the restaurant and the business and the takeout, that is served by business in the community. So maybe going forward, we can put that in our tax exemption policies. And give us some kind of further guidance in addition to the application's use of the land. And so that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Pickard. Anyone else care to comment? These folks have come out to hear you folks tonight, so anything else you'd like to add? Okay, my thought is that, we want to show gratitude towards these folks that are investing so much in our community and providing the services that, the golf course provides to our community and our guests. Doing so on a discounted rate because a lot of it's, donations in kind and volunteer time. There's a lot of volunteer time that goes into it. All those folks right there, if they didn't do what they were doing, we wouldn't have a golf course because I know that that golf course cannot be run by the municipality with its true expenses. The only reason that that our municipality enjoys a facility like that is because the folks that are here tonight and others who, dedicate their time, and donate their time to making that facility a reality. Without you folks, donating your time, without the donations in kind, without, the folks that historically have done everything to build that thing, there's no possible way that the Village of Gold River could build a complex like that and, maintain or operate it. Simply couldn't afford it. So we get to live a quality of life in our community. Our citizens get to maintain their health and wellness. Our children have activities to do during the summer. We have guests that come in and enjoy our communities as well as, engage in other things in our community that helps other parts of our community. And we are very, very fortunate to have it. Every day when I look through the community and see what we have, I just realize that, wow, without those volunteers, this doesn't exist. And I know that we need streams of revenue. I know that we need to, balance our budget. I've been talking to the administrator a lot about we can't run the deficits that we're running. We can't draw down our reserves like we're doing. It's just, and then and spend as much money we're spending was just not sustainable. But for $5,400 a year, I think it sends a wrong message. Really, in my mind. And I don't think that, we get value for that 5,400. All we're going to do is just upset, and we're going to, turn off a lot of folks that, are making that facility a reality. So I'm not gonna, I appreciate what Councillor Wimmer is trying to do. Like, he's with me. He's, I think, physical responsible, and he's trying to balance our budgets and make sure that, we have, financial responsibility, but I just can't support this. I just don't think that that's the message I want to be sending to the folks that, are making this, golf and country club a work and, such an important part of our community. And I know that the money that they're making is not going into anybody's pocket. It's going back into that operation down there, and it's being reinvested. If you come to us, we don't have the money to do what you guys are going to have to be doing down there in order to keep that facility going. So we're going to be depending on you to, raise that money, and because we can't afford it. So I can't support a message that says to people that are doing what has been done historically, right since the inception of that all the way to now. I just don't want to send that type of message to all those people. That just tells me that we're not very grateful for what you've done in the past. So, and doing, currently and in the future. So I'm not going to support the amendment, to this we'll go through it. Of course, we have to have a vote. Doesn't matter. I'm just one voice, but I want to let the people from the golf course know that you guys, are appreciated and are respected, and we know that what you do, allows us to have this facility that we're all very proud of in our community, and we all enjoy in our community, and that without you folks doing what you're doing and how you're doing it, we don't have it. Pretty simple. So, like I said, I'm going to continue to be financially responsible. I'm going to be continuing looking for streams of revenue, trying to get our expenditures down, but this is not this is not how I want to do it. I think I can find other ways of saving $5,400 or raising $5,400 a year. So, but anyways, like I said, this is a democracy. We go through the process. We have public presentations, discussions, and we vote, and that'll be what the law will be when we finish. So there was we have a amendment on the initial motion that we have to vote on, either support the reduction of the permissive tax exemption.
Sorry, your worship, the motion on the table is to receive the report for information at this time.
Oh, yeah, we still got to do that one. Okay, well, we can close. We still have some conversation to go then. I think mine might have stimulated some more conversation. Thank you, Administrator Roy. Did you want to comment on that? Oh, that was your comment? Do you folks, do anybody else want to comment it after my long soliloquy there? Nope, you guys are okay? Okay, let's, oh, sorry. Councilor Raymar, rebuttal.
Just for, I guess, administrative purposes, when is this due? Is the end of October, so we still have one more meeting?
When do we have to have this in, Mr. Roy?
Your worship, this bylaw has to be adopted by the end of October, and between third reading and adoption, there has to be 24 hours.
And just another question for us, because we're council for tonight. If this, if it's a tie vote, does that carry the motion or is that defeated?
It's a defeated motion if there's a tie vote.
We might need that fifth vote, Peter.
Yeah, that's.
We might need it, but do you want to just explore that tonight? See if we need that fifth vote?
Yeah,
Councilor Raynor?
I mean, I don't want to defer this at this point, but I think that might be something we need to be looking to, I mean, right now we're receiving the report for information, but, I mean, there's a fifth member here who's really the deciding vote. So, I mean, that might be where I'm heading, because it seems like we've got a bit of a hungry here.
I understand what you're saying, Councilor Mayor. I think what I heard from the conversation is a 2-2 vote and it might be a tied vote, and we defeated both ways, either the original amendment or the original one. So I don't know if we can get anything done, but we should go through it and actually go through the exercise, having the vote, and then we'll hopefully when we get Councilor Ringleback, we might be able to decide this thing. Councilor Fawcett.
Thank you to the chair. I agree. Just because we have one counselor that's unable to be here without nothing that she did, doesn't mean that we need to start pushing everything back every time a counselor is unable to make it. We would probably not get much work done. I
Agreed.
think we just do, for democracy's sake, we do need to continue with the process and live with the consequences.
I agree, and I think Councilor Waymire just showing some foresight, and he sees a tied vote with it being defeated on the amendment and being defeated on the original. So that's a possibility, but let's go through and find out. And then if that's the case, then we'll have to table it. I guess I assume we'll table it would be the procedures in the next meeting when we have a full, when we have the council. Councilor Pickard.
Thank you through the chair. One thing I forgot to say before too is that we, regardless of what happens or whichever way it goes, that we need to look at the assessment of the building and make sure that it's assessed correctly and it's the right building. And there were taxes paid, I think, in 2016 and previous, so it's not never been done, but an accurate and fair assessment of the building would equal an accurate and fair assessment of the 06 business parcel of the land. And so I don't know how that happens. But
You guys want to call for the question now? Exhausted discussion? Okay, I'll read this whole thing out. Do I have to actually read it?
Again, we're on the.
Oh, yeah, we still
receiver.
have to do, well, I guess I just want to get into it. Okay, so call for the question and receipt, all in favor? Okay, second part of this will be the rest of it. Can I just reference that or have to read it all out, Administrator Roy?
Whichever motion council wishes to put on the table, yes.
What I'd like to do is the amended motion is the first one I'd like to consider. That was, that we've asked for the report for. That reduces the permissive tax exemption and increases their cost by taxes by 5,400. And here is, I'll put this one out and we'll just see if it can get moved and seconded. Roll number 53.300 Gold River Golf and Country Club, Lot A, Plan VIP 51943, District Lot 129 and 663, Nooka District, owned by the Village of Gold River and operated by the Gold River Golf Society and used for recreational purposes. The entire golf course property exempt 100% of Class 6 business other than 100% of Class 08 recreation nonprofit assessment. The replacing in Section C with roll number 53.300 Gold River Golf and Country Club, Lot A, Plan VIP 51943, District Lots 129 and 663, Nooka District, owned by the Village of Gold River and operated by the Gold River Golf Society and used for recreational purposes. The golf course property is exempt 50% of Class 06 business other and 100% of Class 08 recreation nonprofit assessment by giving a 50% permissive tax exemption to Class 6. Councillor care to move that? Moved by Councillor Waymar. Have a seconder? Second by Councillor Pickard. Any other discussion that you care to indulge in before we call for the question? No other discussion? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Defeated? We can go to the alternative, but I think it'd be fruitless. I don't think it's going to change the outcome any. I think the vote would probably be the same. Do you agree, Councillor Fossin? So we'll table this to the next meeting then and hope that we have a quorum of 5 so that we have enough people to actually have a deciding vote. Is that correct, Mr. Roy?
That's the direction of council. Yes, we do have an
Can we-
committee of the whole meeting coming up, so
That's
maybe
what I'm
we can do a
hoping. Is that- Can
special.
we include that in committee of the whole for? our
No,
next-
we would do a special council meeting before the committee of the whole for this one item, and then we go to the committee of the whole is what we would do moving forward then.
And do you need direction to do that, or can we just set that up? Thank you, sir. Folks, in case you don't know, what happened there is that we had hung votes. We don't have decisive vote. It's a 2-2 tie, so it's not passed. We need our another council member so that we can hopefully get a 3-2 vote, either in favor or against. So my apologies, we don't have a definitive answer for you tonight. It'll probably be during next meeting. Our next meeting is going to be, I believe, in 1 week, correct?
Next Tuesday as the
Next
14th would
Tuesday
be a
after the
stat.
stat holiday. So we'll be getting back and revisiting this vote again on next Tuesday. So you guys are also welcome to attend then if you want, but unfortunately, we can't give you a conclusion this evening. Sorry. But that's where we are right now. Okay. So the second one is the Board of Variance bylaw number 754-2024. I believe last meeting we gave first, second, and third reading to it. Tonight is adoption. So move that we adopt the Board of Variance bylaw number 754-2024. Can I get it moved? Moved by Councillor Fossing, second by Councillor Waymire. Any discussion on that? None. Calling for the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Done. We're in the correspondence, block correspondence. Move that we receive the block correspondence in its entirety. Moved. Councillor, sorry, I didn't see a hand. Councillor Waymire, second by Councillor Pickard. Any discussion? You want to pull and discuss anything here? Nope, all good. Call for the question. All in favor? Done. We're in a new business and I'll pass it over to Councillor Pickard to give us a motion, if she would, on what she was proposing.
Perfect. Thank you through the chair. And I'd like to do a motion for the mayor and council to approve a letter of support for Greek Seafood. They have offered to do some bare bones and send us a draft this week. So tonight we would just need the motion that council and mayor approves a letter of support for Greek Seafood and in it stating their importance as an industry and a company in our town, and with some specific details of what they offer our town. Thanks.
Got that, Mr. Roy? Can you wordsmith that a bit? Thank you, sir. Seconder? Seconded by Councillor Waymire. Any discussion? Councillor Waymire. Your red light's on.
Yeah, I just want
It's off now, Peter.
Oh, God. Yeah, I just want a little clarification. This is in response to the federal government wanting fish farms out of the ocean for 2029 and that being an unrealistic deadline.
Thanks, Councillor Waymire. Exactly. when the federal government was about to like do their decision in July, we did on behalf of Mayor Council a letter of support for Grieg and the industry in general and in supporting Gold River. And now that the draft framework's out and they want them out of the water by 2029 and Griegs are saying that's not possible and not feasible, as well as their partners. And so they have some representatives from the federal government coming the week after next. And this would be kind of more specific with some more details and just kind of that we support them in this, you know, whatever the process looks like. Thanks.
Great. Did you have a question, Councillor Fossen? Councillor Fossen?
Just one question here. I guess you would say I'd like to have more information from Great Seafood before I agree to draft a letter of support. So is this motion to do that, or is it to actually draft a letter before we even know what we're accepting?
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Fossen. It's to approve that a letter of support for Greek seafood.
Councillor Fossen?
Thank you. Again, I would like to say I'd like to have more information from Great Seafood before we agree to do a draft letter, or to even agree to a draft letter of support. Because we could be agreeing to anything if we don't have the information. So thank you.
Just for clarification, Councillor Pickard, is that there's a request coming forward to the council to provide that request?
Thank you, through the mayor. Yeah, we can do the letter and they can provide us some details, or they can do a draft if we prefer that. That we'll
What I'm
review.
hearing is that we're looking for a request for Greek seafood, and then we would deliberate that and make a determination on whether we want to provide a letter of support. Does that work for you? And the seconder, who seconded that one? Does that work for you, Peter? Or excuse me, Councillor Waymer. Sometimes I forget. Got to use the proper terminology when I'm in this room. Councillor Waymer.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to timeliness here. I mean, it's coming up in new business because of, I assume, the timeliness of having the federal representatives come to Gold River. You know, I guess we have a meeting on Tuesday. I just kind of want to get the, timeline set. Because I mean, I very much support keeping Greek seafood in town. It's just a matter of the timeliness of this. So if we were to postpone this to Tuesday and get some more information from Greek, would that be possible?
Councillor Pickard.
Thank you. I think so, because we have Thanksgiving all this week, and Thanksgiving, and the next week is when they're coming. So we could do as our motion that we will accept a draft or look over a draft and then get the draft, and then we can kind of review and see if we're okay with that and we're okay to give them that as support.
Procedurally, we got a motion on the floor that you have to vote on and defeat. I guess to introduce your next motion, or else we could just withdraw and then amend.
Or table it to a next meeting.
What do you care to do, Councillor Pickard, Councillor Wimmer? Do you want to withdraw your motion and then introduce a new motion? Or do you want us to vote on your motion that you have on the table right now?
Okay, so with our meeting coming on Tuesday, through the chair, could we say, please send us the draft and we can review it? Or do we have to get a motion to get them to do a draft support letter on behalf of Mayor Council?
No, we wouldn't need a motion for that, but we can request that information so we could have it present for the next meeting so council can make an informed decision.
Care to withdraw your motion, you two, and then we can reduce a new motion, just asking for requesting information before, or requesting the letter of support? Councilor Waymer?
It sounds like we don't need to have a motion to ask them for more information. So I'd just like to table this until our Tuesday meeting after Thanksgiving.
I'm just comfortable, I'll pitch it. I'm comfortable with the voting on the motion. I'm going to support it and I'll just ask the administrator to get the or get the additional information and have a request letter so that there's actually a letter coming that'll be present for council to look at in terms of what they want when we craft the letter. I don't have a problem with that. We supported Greg 3 or 4 times in the past already, and I don't think our position has changed. We still value the company and we still want them in our community and in our region. So that was just a matter of working the time. I don't think there's any objections among this group to supporting their request. Does that work for you, Administrator Roy?
Yes, Worship.
Thank you, sir. So any other conversations that you guys want to have on this one? Nope. Calling for the question on the motion on the table. All in favor? Okay, carried unanimously. Moving on. Question period. Any of you folks in the gallery want to ask a question about what you've seen so far this evening? Trudy, go ahead. You don't have to reintroduce yourself and everything. I know who you are and where you live. Thank you.
Okay, I just need some
Just,
clear,
So
oops, sorry.
just let me know if you want to direct your question to a particular counselor or just want to make it.
No,
It has to
to
be a
count-
question. It has to be a question.
I know, I was just gonna ask a
Just
question.
want to make sure because sometimes people think it's a place for soapbox.
No, I just need some clarification.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the tax is based on the revenue and the space of the kitchen at the golf course, or is it the entire clubhouse? Because the front end collects the green fees and issues the cart rentals, which if we didn't have that section, we wouldn't have any golfers.
I'm going to refer your question to the administrator. He's done the report for council and I think he'd better explain it than I would, Trudy.
The assessment is split between class 6 and class 8. The entire building is inside of class 6. And the recommendation is half of it is taxed, half the assessment.
I don't think that helps her.
No,
That's the best we can do based on how the information is presented to us by BC Assessment.
okay, so if we didn't have the kitchen, that changes everything, right?
Mr. Roy?
Again, the kitchen is within the footprint of the building, which is both it also includes your where you do your business for the greens and stuff. So that entire building is in class 6.
I still not. If we eliminate the kitchen, does that change everything?
I'm not sure how to address that question because I'm not sure what she means by eliminating the kitchen and what the impact.
Eliminate the kitchen. Do they not have to pay the permissive tax at 5,400?
Permissive tax is a council decision.
Yep.
So
So if we did the 50% and we're calculation now is 5,400, if she eliminates the kitchen from the clubhouse on the assessed value, what would be the cost to them on that 50%? Would it be less than 5,400 or still 5,400?
If council's direction is to tax percent of the business regardless of the business assessment, it is regardless of what's in that space, based on the assessment classification.
At a current classification right now, it would be less or more?
again, that's a council decision.
Sounds like you're gonna have to wait until
I just
our next
can't-
meeting,
Yeah, and just,
because I don't know how to respond to that.
I
I
don't
think
know.
what you're asking us is that if we did go ahead with.
okay, so if we
the-
just, maybe I should clarify my question.
Yep.
If we just had a pro shop, little pro shop, a little building.
Yeah.
That sold green fees and rented out carts.
That'd be a shame, wouldn't it? Okay,
Oh, that's,
can I get back to you next
Yep.
week? Because I don't have an answer for you right now. I think that's going to be satisfying you.
okay,
And I don't know myself, so
okay.
I'm gonna have to do some more research. Thanks. Do
Okay.
you have any other? Oh, sorry. Counselor Pickard.
Thank you through the chair. And I think I understand what you're saying. If, would we be considering adding on some business tax to that 50% of the assessment if it was no kitchen and just the golf course? And I can't speak for everybody here, but I can speak for myself. And it is a very challenging issue that, is taking a lot of thought and a lot of deliberation with everyone. But the big challenge for me, and I think Councillor Waymire, but he can speak for himself, is that the kitchen is in direct competition with a few businesses in
Mhm.
town that also, you know, they're not seasonal, but they do have the same challenges, the same supplies and costs and inflation and staffing. So for me, the really tough part is, you know, is to be fair and that everybody kind of should have the same pressures and the same costs. But if we look at just a pro shop and golf and the lessons and junior academy and all that, that all falls into it within our permissive tax policy guidelines where restaurant and food and beverages don't. So I wouldn't consider adding any extra taxes on if it was just recreation. And which is why that parcel of land that is, you know, deemed as just recreational, that we don't, nobody wants to look at adding any taxes and wants to keep it permissive tax exempt.
Okay, you've answered my question
That's-
because the
that's what was my
discussion
thought.
was the clubhouse, but it seemed to be based on competition for other businesses in town. That's what I needed clarification on.
And sorry, one more thing. I think that's why this Counselor Waymeyer suggested 50% of that building's assessment, which whatever it is, we have to make sure it's even accurate to account for 50% for the pro shop and that front counter and the green fees and all that area.
Yeah,
And
well, the kitchen's still a small portion of the clubhouse.
Yeah.
So, and it's not 3 stories. So anyway, we'll get a proper assessment. Thank you. That's the only question I have.
Thank you. Any, Nicole?
I'm Nicole Foucault. I live at 557 Nimkish. I just want a clarification. I can put my 6 feet on the side of my house and I don't have to move my posts at an angle from 5 to 7?
Sure.
You can do the 6 feet on the side of the house, but the posts have to go to the 7.
Okay, but didn't she say they have to be all the same and you outvoted her?
No,
No.
the offset has to be 7 meters for the corner, from the corner for the, Fence.
Okay, can you clarify again what you said about the 5 feet and 7 feet?
thank you, Nicole, for coming. I said I'm glad that the posts are all within 5 meters from the curb, but the bylaw states they have to be within 7 meters, so farther back to allow for visibility around the corner. So I'm glad that that was flagged by staff, that they were too close to the curb and now have to move back a bit to allow for greater visibility.
Okay, but you all voted yes, but not for that, for the posts?
the offset was not part of the
Okay,
issue.
got it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're quite welcome. No other questions or any questions online there, Mr. Roy?
No, your worship.
Thank you. We move on. No notice of motion. Motion to adjourn in camera. I'll make that motion. It says that council proceed in camera pursuant to section 91E, the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements. If the council considers the disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality, and section 91C, labor relations or other employee relations. Can I get it moved, please? Moved by Councillor Waymar, second by Councillor Fawson. All in favor? We are now going into camera. Thank you all, folks, for coming out. And I suspect we'll see you next meeting.